I'm going to start off this session with a very brief world overview. As an architect, our offices in Europe generally are very, very quiet indeed. So there's not much activity over there, though we are finding some activity in London, and particularly on the commercial side. East Europe, Central Europe, extremely quiet. Warsaw office, extremely quiet. Middle East is a complete and utter disaster area for us, so I won't cut any bones about that one. America, for us, we've been very fortunate to be doing the ground zero work, but that's coming to a close. And secondary, tertiary institutions of education, yes, there's work there, and there is homegrown work within America, but generally it's pretty quiet for us in America as well. So then turning to Asia, what have we got? We are finding Hong Kong work is slowing down. We are heavily focused on infrastructure work in Hong Kong in particular. Commercial work is also slowing down. A little bit of work in Indonesia and some work coming through in Malaysia as well. So two little spots down there in Indonesia and Malaysia that we see as being quite promising in the future. But really the story for us is China for the next 3 or 4 years.
Actually, I don't quite agree with your comment just now that Hong Kong is going to be hollowing out. It's just a bit of delay rather than hollowing out. So for example, the West Kowloon, for example, the ferry terminal in Kai Tak, for example, the high-speed rail and everything like that. Well, I think that will be on stream. Right now, people should consider whether they should take a more positive step or take a more advanced action we take a look at Hong Kong economy, we take a look at the opportunity right now Hong Kong can offer and plan for the next 5-10 years plan. I think that is more or less the right attitude to do.
The fundamental problem in Hong Kong is you have interest rate, you have monetary policy that's being imported from US, and then you have growth being imported from China. Right? So very few countries or very few economy are at a point where you have actually high growth economy with low interest rate. And unless one day Hong Kong currency actually get repegged or actually tied to renminbi in certain way or form, then the monetary policy and the growth of the economy will be aligned. Until that happens, you actually will have, in a way, currency deflation, forcing asset to appreciate. Right? So people have no choice. If they put cash in the bank, the money will lose value on a day-to-day basis, relative to because of the inflation, because of the growth being imported from China. But I do, in my own humble opinion, I do feel Hong Kong property prices have gone up too much too quick. And I think in the industry, we do feel the next 2 years is going to be more stable. If anything, people say there's a correction, but the correction means maybe prices are going to roll back in the next past 12 months in 10 to 15%, which is healthy because in the last 2 years, it probably went up 40–50%.
It's difficult to get money into China, but if you have money already in China, then it's a great time to go out to shop. And now you see mega-scale shopping malls start building up in China, also by the local Chinese developers, because they do realize that with the rapid GDP growth, actually the spending power of the local Chinese people has increased tremendously. So the potential or the value of the retail space can be materialized very quickly.
In the low-tax country, London is a very, very popular spot. In fact, I read somewhere, I think 60% of new houses are being bought by Asian or Chinese in particular in London. Low tax, easy place to park money. So a lot of it is probably more people are not trying to generate very high return because they feel they can generate the high returns in their home country. It's more diversification, it's more safety, and so where the money is going to go likely will be where the kids of these guys are sending to schools. Right, Vancouver, maybe Sydney, maybe London. And US will not see a whole lot of it just because of tax system.
The Singapore government looks after Singapore very well, so they know what to do with Singapore. So sometimes you really have to understand the government policy, what government wants to do. Actually, it's very simple. They want a low cost of doing business for Singapore. So whenever the office rental becomes getting higher, they release a lot of land to build office. If the residential prices is getting higher, then they release a lot of residential land. So in Singapore, I think it's a safe haven. Things will not go wrong. And then, of course, you cannot look for to reap huge profits in one single project, unless you are really very lucky. But it's a safe place to invest. So I think Singapore, well, personally, I still like Singapore because the regulations are there. It's very clear. So even as a foreign investor, you go into Singapore, it's no difficulty. Everybody start off on the same level, same platform. So it's a very fair game.
Now, if they release land in accordance to the rising price, to control the price at a reasonable level, and we have lots of land in Hong Kong, why doesn't our Hong Kong government do the same?
Well, I think we lost several years that we have not created enough land ready for development. Yeah, we have a lot of land. But I mean, you have to put in a lot of infrastructure, you have to put in a lot of zoning, you have to put in a zoning, you have to pass the town planning before you can really zone it as residential or office or industrial. Right? But in the past few years, possibly because the property market was really bad, so the government really take any proactive action in creating land available or readily available for development. But in Singapore, I mean, they have not been stopping making land available. We spend too much time arguing whether we should reclaim more land from the harbor or whether we can change the use of some of these industrial buildings into office. I mean, there's too much debate going on.
Yes, possibly a master plan would help.
Yeah, could be. But it takes probably another century to come up with a master plan.
To go for the master plan for Hong Kong.